Hello, happy April 2021. I'm Julie Beebe Heigl and I have my coffee this morning. It's a beautiful day for canning, so I thought I'd bring you along, show you how I can. First of all, I use a pressure canner here, and I'm going to be canning meat. I got this shank portion ham from Winco on sale. It was like 60, I don't remember how much it was, but it was originally $14.92 and I think they took $4 off. So it was $10.92 for a huge ham, but I took off all the fat and I would say that's probably half the ham. I have cut it into pieces, the remaining meat, and I'm going to can it. And this is the leftover bone, so I'm going to ask my mom for her recipe for beans and ham hocks, and that will not go to waste. So I'm super clean. I keep everything nice and clean and tidy, sterilized. I do use Norwex cloths on all my counters and 7th generation soap, and I'm going to show you how to can. And if you're wondering what Norwex cloths are, Norwex cloths with the backlock technology, so it absorbs all kinds of germs and stuff. So those work awesome. So to get started, I have my pressure canner. Whenever you start with a pressure canner, you want to look through this hole right here. Make sure nothing's plugging it up. Hold it up to the light. Also double check your pressure gauge, your little spout that comes up when it seals, and have this checked once a year by your exchange. Mine is fine because I've only had mine for less than a year. And you add the seal around here, and that's what's going to seal your cans. They call them cans, but they're jars. And based on my pressure canner guide, I'm to add 12 cups of water to the bottom of the pressure canner. So that's 12 cups. And on the bottom of the pressure canner, I have one of these. I have another one in my garage, a leftover pressure canner that I got at a thrift store, and I don't want to use it. After I bought that one, I found this one at Bi-Mart, and it was only $99, so I just got it one. But that's in the bottom. You add 12 cups of water and 2 tablespoons of vinegar. So 2 tablespoons of vinegar, just a little splash. I splashed a little, so just a little bit more. And that keeps the jars from getting greasy or whatever. So then I'm also going to put a little bit of vinegar in this right here, ramekin, so I could use it to wipe the lids of the jars. And I use canning pickling salt in the bottom of each one of my jars. I put that right here so I can measure it. Person that puts things away when you're done. That way I know I've used it. I bring everything out before I start to bake or cook or process to make sure I have enough of everything. And then I put it away as I go. So I'm using the Kerr jars today. And the Kerr jars, these are the wide mouth. I like using the wide mouth for the meat. It's easier to get them in and out. And I use the regular size mouths for sauces and tomato paste, that kind of thing. So you can kind of pour them out. But for the meat, I use the wide mouth jars. And this is a sample of other meat that I've already processed. just to show you the finished product. This was filet mignon, and I didn't put enough meat in it, and it shrunk like by half, like this. So I reprocessed it into a chili, and it is the best chili. This is my last jar of that. But this is chicken thighs with the bone, and this is some pork roast that I canned, and I did not add liquid. This is how much juice came out of canning. All of these are dry canned, and they make their own juice. So anyways, back to canning. When you can a jar, these can last 2 years. I'll use a larger jar like this to make a meal, and then I'll use a smaller jar like this for like sandwiches. All right. So this is my leftover, I don't want to touch it again, leftover bone from the ham that I said I was going to make. And so this is heating up. I have the seal on there. I'm going to put that on, save some energy, just slightly on. And what I do is I take off, I think 7 jars can fit in this water. In the pressure canner, 7 jars total. So you don't really need to sterilize them. Some people say sterilize them. Other people say you don't need to sterilize them. The jars, I usually sterilize them in the dishwasher, but I also cheat. And as this is heating up, and this is my little can connector, I put them in here and let them get warm. And this also sterilizes them. Okay, 1/6. Let me get one more. Because when you pressure can, you end up, let me get the water in them a little bit. You end up, when you pressure can, you can for like 75 minutes. And that's gonna kill any botulism, whatever you think might grow in that meat. Okay, so that's on, that's getting hot. So right now I'm going to go ahead and lower this down while I work on the rest. Okay, so I also use water to sterilize the lids. That's just like things on my meats. So put this right here. Let me move this. I'm not going to be making my tea. So put that in there, and then you put the lids in here, and it softens these up. So you can use them. You don't need to sterilize the rings because the rings just on the outside while it's canning. Then you remove the rings when you're storing them, and if for some reason this comes loose, you'll know. If you have the ring on it, it holds it snug, and you don't know if you have spoiled food or not. So after you process them, you remove the rings, and then you'll know if it's edible and still good to you. All right, so I have my vinegar. I'm going to get a little towel. All right, this is another Norwex cloth that I use. I'm going to use this to wipe off the jars. And you know, I'm going to just use this one for here. So I kind of processed over here. I hope you guys can see. But these are the tools you need. You'll need this to get the hot lids out of here and put them on the jars. And then I use this. I use this to help keep the rims clean. All right, so those done. These are heating up, and my meat is cut up. So what we're going to do is add this meat into the jars, put the lids on them. Add a little bit of salt, even though it's pork, it does kind of taste salty already. You don't have to have the salt. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It's just your preference. You can always add the salt later. The salt doesn't help in regards to processing. So grab one of these, because these are hot now. Empty the water. Set it on the side. And these are already simmering, so those are getting warm. And then you just take your meat and put it in the jar. Or you can even use that to keep, like I said, keep it from getting the jar dirty. And you want to pack it pretty full of meat because it does shrink. But the directions say to leave 1 inch headspace on it. So that's what I did. So that's about 1 inch headspace up at the top. Then I use another little Norwex cloth in the vinegar to clean the rim. Take the lid, set it right in the middle, and then just tighten it down with the ring. Just finger tighten, you know, not real tight, because these, sometimes it's been hard for me to get these off and I've almost had to call a neighbor to help. So don't make them too tight. All right, and then you put it back in. And you do that for all of these. I'm going to do these really as fast as I can. And then show you how to put the lid on and bring it up to pressure. And then once it starts cooking, there we go. Okay. Wipe off the jar. See, you can add salt if you want. Just an 1/8. Oops, that's 1 teaspoon. Well, just an 1/8 of a teaspoon if you want. But I tasted this pork and it's pretty salty already. So I'll just cook it as is and then add salt to it when I open the can jar later on. So, get another lid. It's warm, so it should try to center it as best as you can. They are hot, so be careful. Not too tight, just snug, just finger tight. That's 2. Yeah, for $10 to have, you know, maybe six cans of meat. You know, the price of everything is going up. This is Joe Biden's era of 2021. So gas prices are going up. Food prices are going up. And so whenever you can find something affordable, go ahead and buy it and then can it yourself. It doesn't take that much effort to can it yourself. Might need one more piece. You need a small piece of meat right there on the top. There we go. And because it's warm, you can kind of feel it kind of already snug onto the jar, like, kind of like, I guess, poly grip for dentures or something, if you have poly grip dentures. Let me see if it's still on. Yeah, it's still on. Okay, so there we go. We've got the meat in there. Not too tight, just finger tight. I hope I have enough for the 7. There really was a lot of fat on, in my opinion, there was a lot of fat on that pork. It was like half the bag was fat that I cut off. And I'll put these in really quick. Finish canning these. I'm pretty full. So I hope you all had a wonderful Easter. My Google Calendar said today was Easter Monday. What the heck is Easter Monday? Google, I don't know what they're doing. Why they called it Easter Monday. Alright, so wipe off the rim. And again, that's just vinegar that helps the lid stick. If you have any cracks on your jar or any dents or residue, the lid won't seal. And if it's just one, it's a bummer. But when one of the seals don't seal, all the jars get like gooey all over it. So you don't like that. Put that one in. This is what happens when you don't take off all the skin and all the fat. All right, so you may want some of that fat in there, but I don't like it. That was the first time I canned, and this is when you remove the fat. It looks a lot better if you have most of the fat removed. Let's see, how many do I have here? What I'm doing is I'm filling up one of the jars that are left in there, because if you don't have enough to fill up the entire pressure canner, then you can put a jar of water in there to keep them stable and not from falling over. But I think I'm gonna have enough. Let's see. I think I might have enough meat, pork, to put in all of them. So I don't have to put a water, like a placeholder in it. Ooh, that one might be. Actually, that's gonna work. Yeah, see, like I got pork on the outside of that. So I definitely wanna make sure I wipe this one off. To create a good seal. 2 more in there. Get that centered. Put the canning ring on them. Finger tight, not too tight. Put it back in. And I have 2 more jars. Add more meat. I actually, all right, this is called cold packing. That means it's supposed to be raw, but it's actually cooked ham. So I guess it's not. So since it's cooked ham, I won't have to process it quite as long. Oh shoot, I forgot to wipe it off. Did I wipe it off? Okay, that's what happens when you start to get gray hair. Memory starts to go. Okay, better safe than sorry. Since it's already cooked, I'm going to process these as hot. Oh, that's too tight. See, I put it on too tight and I won't be able to get it off. And then the last one. actually going to have leftover. So I'll just add the leftover into my beans and ham hocks and have meals for me and a lot of neighbors. My mom used to make beans and ham hocks and it was so good. I need to put a bay leaf in it. I'll have to call her and ask her for her recipe. Yes, I do have leftovers. Shove that in. So I am going to have leftover ham for the beans and ham hocks. Alright, I'm going to turn this off. Too tight. Alright, so I've got the 7 cans in here. I'm going to take this off so I can show you real close what it looks like. Okay, 7 cans of the ham. And I think what I'm going to do is zoom in so you can see what I'm doing with the canning lid. Sorry about the jumping around, folks. So you want this up high, making sure there's a V right here. Actually, there's a V right here on the handle, a big white V, and I have it on the right hand side. There's a V right here, so you just line up those V's. And then turn the lid, and it's closed. Now what's going to happen is this is going to start steaming. Remember, I looked through that to make sure it was clear. So this is going to start steaming in probably 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Then you let it steam for a total of 10 minutes, and this little button right there is going to pop up. That means it's sealed. I then put this weight on top. And this weight, according to the canner, will raise this up to 15 psi, and it needs to cook for however long it tells me in there for pork. Hold on. God bless me. And that's how you can. So after this steams for 15 minutes, or I'm sorry, 10 minutes, a steady steam, you'll put this on and it'll raise the pressure. That's why it's a pressure canner, is up to 15, and then you'll adjust the heat of the flame so it stays right at the 15 or 14 psi, and then prepare it for as long as it says in the directions. So 10 minutes allows steam to flow from the vent pipe. Reduce heat if necessary to maintain a steady, moderate flow of steam. And then if I look up, okay, that's fruit, tomatoes, vegetables, meat. Okay, so canning of meat, I'm at 2,500 sea level. It says the pressure is 12 pounds. So once I put this on, this will read 12 pounds. If it falls below 12 pounds, I have to start my timer all over again. If it goes above 12 pounds, you're good. See how it's starting to spit right there? Okay, so and that is pints without a bone. in the jar. Page 45 will tell me for how long. Okay. So those are the pints, so that'll be 75 minutes. It does spit and make a lot of mess, just so you know. So I usually put a little paper towel down here on the ground. It does make a little bit of a mess. 12 pounds. It shows you how to do rabbit, duck, goose, turkey, poultry, chicken, lamb, beef, pork. Pre-cooked meal until raw. Pack hot meat loosely in hot jars, leaving 1 inch head space. Cover meat with boiling broth water or tomato juice, leaving 1 inch. Raw pack. Do not add liquid. Well, I didn't add liquid. All right, we'll have a dilemma. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Okay, so now this is steaming. Can you see the steam coming up? And that's up. So we wait 10 minutes and then we'll put this on. And yeah, these are pint, so I'll process them for 65 minutes. Better safe without bones, 75 minutes. Hour and 15 minutes. All right. So I'm letting that steam. I know I'm going to push pause just for a minute because I've got about 6 more minutes of that steaming.